Let's loosen up the waist. Now bring your feet together and we'll loosen up the knees. And change direction. And now the ankles. I'll just place the toe down and circle the heel around the toe. And change direction. I'm going to check the waiting room. Did it work? Okay, good. Now we're just loosening up the ankles. And reverse directions. And now the other foot. And reverse directions. All right, now we'll stand with the feet hip width apart. Interlock the fingers. We'll use return to childhood breathing, so gently expand the abdomen as you inhale, gently push down on the perineum. Gently contract the abdomen as you exhale, gently lift the perineum. So inhale and exhale. Stretch out any tight places and continue deep breathing. Come back to center, inhale, exhale, turn to the side. Inhale, come back to the front. Exhale, turn to the other side. Inhale, come back to the front. Once more to each side. Inhale, come back to the front. One more time, turn to the side. Inhale, come back to the front. Take a wrist, stretch up, exhale and bend. Inhale, come back to center, change to the other wrist, stretch up, exhale and bend. Inhale, come back to center. One more time to each side. Inhale, come back to center, and stretch up. Exhale and bend. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, bend the waist, move your hips around to loosen your lower back. And squat down with feet flat. Lift up your heels. And we'll come back up. Now we'll loosen up the shoulders, so bring your shoulders forward and inhale. Roll them to the back and exhale. Inhale forward, exhale back. And stop with your shoulders in the back. Now inhale with your shoulders held back. Reverse directions. Exhale when your shoulders come forward. Now alternating sides. Inhale on one side, exhale on the other. Stop on the exhale side. Now inhale on that side, change direction. Exhale on the other side. Now, we're going to bend the waist slightly, stretch the neck muscles evenly forward. Place the hands on the hips, turn the head, look up at the ceiling. Inhale, come back to center. Turn your head the other way, look up at the ceiling. Inhale, come back to center. Continue turning slowly from side to side in coordination with your breathing. Exhale out, inhale in. And it'll come back upright. Now step out to a little bit wider than shoulder width stance and start horizontal circles. Coordinate with breathing. Inhale when your lower dantian goes backwards. Exhale when it comes forwards. As you go backwards, tuck your buttocks under. And as you go forwards, you can on-tuck. Place your mind in your lower spine and sacrum. Pay attention to the feeling there as the bones and muscles move. Now slowly turn to the side. Keep your knees pointing straight ahead. Do the turning in the waist and hips. Gradually come back to center and turn to the other side. Come back to center and reverse directions. Continue to coordinate with your breathing. Continue to focus your mind on the lower spine and sacrum. Turn slowly to the side, keeping your knees straight ahead. Gradually come back to center and turn to the other side.
Guess what? Yes, I'm doing it.
Come back to center. Slowly make the circle smaller. We'll come to a stop and we'll wave the spine.
Michael, would you put your computer on mute, please? Yes.
Coordinating with the breathing. Inhale here as the solar plexus goes backwards and the lower dantian goes forwards. Exhale here as the solar plexus goes forward and the lower dantian goes backwards. Focus your mind on the lumbar spine. Try to feel the vertebrae moving section by section in a slow, soft wave. Okay, and turn slowly to the side. Gradually come back to center and turn to the other side. Come back to center now. Bring the weight up to the shoulders. Continue to coordinate with breathing. Inhale here. Exhale here. So the lower dantian comes forward and the shoulders go backwards. Then the lower dantian goes backwards and the shoulders come forward. This is inhale. This is exhale. Focus your mind on feeling your whole body threaded together as the wave begins at the bottoms of your feet and moves up the body section by section till it reaches the tops of your shoulders, moving slowly and softly. Remember not to drop your head too low. So keep the head up here. And we don't want the head to drop down like that low. Let's turn this one to the side too. So slowly and carefully turn to the side. And as usual, keep your knees pointed straight ahead. Gradually come back to center and turn to the other side. Come back to center. Now we'll add the arms. And the arms become an extension of the wave. Continue to coordinate with breathing. And now one arm at a time. and the other arm. And since with Tai Chi ball, we'll also be using our legs, let's add a little bit of leg warm up. So now if we put one foot forward, and we're gonna do opposite arm, opposite knee forward, alternating arms. So as we do this, remember, do the turning in your waist and hips, not with your knees. So your feet should stay totally flat to the floor. We don't want the feet to be rolling up like this because that would mean that the knees are twisting. So knees stay straight ahead. Well, let me correct that. This knee stays straight ahead. Actually, the knees stay in the same direction that the toes are pointing. This leg, this foot is pointing to the corner, so the knees are aligned with it. So not straight ahead towards the camera. And let's take one step forward. And so opposite hand, opposite knee forward. And we'll rock on the other side. And we'll finish. Okay, so warm-ups necessary for Tai Chi ball because Tai Chi ball, we want to use the whole body, particularly the spine. So when we pick up the ball, I'll demonstrate how we want to use the spine and why we spent 20 minutes getting the spine loose. Let me demonstrate something. This is I believe, a 1¼ inch closet rod from Home Depot. And if you don't have a wooden ball, and you want to use something that is almost as good as a wooden ball, a piece of wood like this is a reasonable substitute, because you can do almost as much with this as you can do with the ball. And in addition, you can do the Tai Chi ball breathing so that you can transmit your chi through the wood along the grain. Here, the grain of the wood is running this way. So your chi actually will flow through this when you do Tai Chi ball breathing. So if you don't have a wooden ball, this is something you could try. You can buy these fancy with designs that were worked on a lathe for about $30, but you can probably get this at Home Depot for nothing if it's something that they had as scrap. So you could use this as in lieu of a Tai Chi ball. So I just wanted to show you that inexpensive alternative to a ball. So yeah, I'll go ahead and pick a ball there. Plastic balls are also good. Although of course, if you do Tai Chi ball breathing, with the plastic ball, you won't be able to send the chi through the ball because the plastic does not conduct the electricity. You'd be surprised, but wood actually does to conduct the chi. Okay, so wood, a ball about, say 8 to 12 inches in diameter is what you want for Tai Chi ball. The wooden balls come in various shapes and sizes. Well, no, I shouldn't say shapes, because they're all round. It's various sizes and various woods, as in this one being a redwood, others being mahogany, pine, and I forget all the different possibilities with the wood composition of the ball. So,
Poplar? I think these are poplar.
poplar, yeah.
Here.
So Bob says he's got the one from the shelf that's poplar. Okay, so now, Tai Chi ball, we have four different stances that we can use. I say stances, four different ways of moving the legs. So first of all, it's stationary, but the legs are not moving. So stationary, you can use the ball like this, stationary. And you can see that what I'm trying to do with my back is to get my spine to wave. As opposed to doing this. Okay, we don't want to do this. This is just arms, okay? So we want to have the whole body, particularly the spine, involved in the movement. So just as we were trying to make a wave out of the spine in the warm-ups, we want to continue to try to do that in the exercise with the ball. So as the ball comes in, you tuck your buttocks under to flatten the lower back. And as the ball goes out, you untuck. So I am sinking maybe, I don't know, maybe as much as an inch. As I bring the ball in, tuck the buttocks under, I bend the knees a little bit more. And then as I send the ball out, I'm returning to normal height. The knees are still bent, but not as much as they are here. Like all Qigong, we coordinate the ball movements with the breathing. The key to understanding the coordination of the breathing is inhalation is yin, exhalation is yang. So when is yin with the ball movement? When the ball comes in. When the ball comes in towards you, that's yin, so that's inhalation. When the ball goes out, that's exhalation. So inhale and exhale. So that's an example of the stationary position. We also have the rocking position. So this is just like Tai Chi form in that we're shifting our weight from front stance to back stance. And from back stance to front stance. That's why we call it rocking. So our position is the front foot is straight ahead. The rear foot is at a 45-degree angle to straight ahead. The feet remain firmly flat on the floor at all times, so I'm not shifting back and picking up a foot and shifting forward and picking up my heel. So feet remain fully flat on the floor. And the knees bend in the same direction that the toes on the corresponding foot are pointing. So as I'm shifting my weight and rocking, my front knee tracks in the same direction that the toes on the front foot point, and my rear knee tracks in the same direction as the toes on that foot are pointing. And that's at a 45-degree angle to straight ahead, as I mentioned earlier. So we have rocking stance. Ball comes in, we inhale, we tuck the buttocks under, send the ball out, we exhale and on-tuck. So in rocking position, we still want to have the spine moving. I think today we'll just do stationary and rocking, but the other two positions for the feet are walking forward and backward and circle walking. So if you've had some experience with Tai Chi walking, this is Tai Chi walking, but in coordination with movement of the ball. So you can walk forward, and you can walk backwards. And then circle walking. Would be something like that. Of course, you could have a larger circle if you didn't have to stay in front of the camera. So, circle walking is fun to do with a group. So you maybe make a circle that's 10 feet in diameter or something, and a group walks around the circle. And the leader of the group indicates when to change directions and walk the other way, or switch from forward to backward. Okay, so let's go back to stationary stance. Excuse me. Okay, and talk about how the ball can move in different patterns. So I showed you overhand circling. So vertical circling, overhand. And the ball can also move underhand. So as the ball comes in, that's inhale. And as the ball goes out, that's exhale. When we're doing the vertical circling, what we want to be careful of is the ball doesn't go up higher than top edge of the ball level with your nose. Because if we go up higher, right away we tense up the shoulder muscles. Not to mention, it's a bad habit to block your vision. Tai Chi ball training is actually, of course, basic training for Tai Chi martial arts. So raising your elbows that high that you block your vision is not a good habit. In addition to horizontal circling, in addition to vertical circling, we have horizontal circling. Exhale when the ball goes out, inhale when the ball comes in. Now with horizontal circling, we have a very important principle in play, and that is the whole body moves as a unit, and the waist directs the side-to-side movement. So if I'm doing horizontal circling, I'm doing clockwise, but it doesn't matter which way, because we're going to change after a bit. You have an inner ball in the center of your lower abdomen. The inner ball moves with the outer ball. The inner ball leads the outer ball. And you can really see this in the horizontal circling. So horizontal circling, I'm going to just use one hand on the ball here. So you can show that the inner ball in the lower dantian, with its center in the lower dantian, leads the outer ball. So body coordination is a very important part of the Tai Chi ball training. Excuse me. Inner ball moves to the left, to my left. outer ball follows. The inner ball goes a little bit forward, outer ball follows. Inner ball goes to the right, outer ball follows. Inner ball comes in and starts to turn to my left, outer ball follows. So we want the circling to look like this, with the movement coming from starting in the bottoms of the feet in your root and everything connected out to the tips of your fingers in the outer ball. So it's like this, and now to show you the wrong way, it's not like this. Okay. This is just arms. So in addition to the horizontal circling and the vertical circling, we have two other patterns for manipulating the ball. And one of those patterns is rotating. So rotating, the hands stay on the ball, all of the fingers and palm, all of that flesh stays on the ball. And the inner ball rotates and the outer ball follows. So the hands do not move. This is very good for the shoulders, elbows, and wrists, particularly if you have a ball that is light and does not cause your muscles and tendons to tense up. So it's very good for arthritis treatment. If you use a ball that is light, if you use a ball that's heavier, then it becomes more like a muscle toning exercise. So rotating like this. And the position of the ball can vary from down here, just as long as you don't go down so far that your elbows lock, and all the way up here to, again, the edge of the ball, top edge of the ball, level with your nose. So the rotating goes like this. And then the final pattern for moving the ball is wrapping. So wrapping, one hand turns the ball. So the inner ball wraps and the outer ball follows. So in this case, my right hand is turning the ball, and you ask, what's the left hand doing? And what I say about the left hand is it keeps the ball from falling, okay? So the left hand's here, and it's just gonna pivot on the ball to do what it needs to do to keep the ball from dropping. Once again, the inner ball starts to wrap, outer ball follows. So you can wrap with one arm at a time, or you can wrap alternating arms. And again, our goal here is for the Tai Chi training, but for body coordination and connection and energy flow as well, is to have the whole body coordinated in the movement. So that the wrapping movement starts in the bottoms of my feet and begins to make the inner ball wrap, and then the outer ball wraps. So the whole body's coordinated in the movement. And this is a very efficient way of moving, because then no one part of the body bears the whole inordinate burden of the movement. Okay, so those are our 4 stances and our 4 ball patterns. So they can be combined. So you could do walking and wrapping, and rotating, horizontal circling, vertical circling. Okay, so let's go back to stationary stance and vertical circling. Inhale as the ball comes in, buttocks tucked under. Exhale as the ball goes out. My stance is a little wider than shoulder width. Inner ball leads the outer ball. Inhale, exhale. Now, suppose I want to change direction. I want to change direction from the overhand vertical circling to underhand vertical circling. Well, I could do this. Stop and reverse and go. That's not Tai Chi. Okay. Tai Chi is continuous circular movement. So stopping violates several principles of Tai Chi. So we want continuous circular movement. What are we going to do? We're going to go through the center of the circle and make an S-shaped maneuver. So that looks like this, with my hand representing the ball, overhand vertical circle. And through the center of the circle, and now underhand vertical circle. It's kind of like what you would see in the yin-yang symbol, where you have a large circle, and inside the large circle, an S. So the ball never stops, the momentum's never lost, we never use force against force to stop the ball. Yeah, it's not hard to stop the ball, but it's the Tai Chi principle that we don't use force against force, so we don't resist. We flow. So let's try that. Overhand circling. Now through the center of the circle. And now we switch to underhand circling. Now, if I want to switch back to overhand, well, I just did the same thing I did before. Make an S through the center of the circle. The S could go in either direction. I mean, it could come from front to back. Or, if I go back to underhand, the S could be made from back to front. Just as long as it's continuous flowing circular movement. Now, when you're in stationary position, it doesn't matter whether you go from front to back or back to front. However, if we were to be rocking, then my underhand here, oh, that's overhand, sorry. Underhand here has to coordinate with the movement of the body. So when I'm rocking backwards, I would go from front to back. I'm going to resume underhand. When I'm moving frontwards, rocking frontwards, I would go from back to front. So the whole body would be coordinated with the ball going in the same direction as body. Shifting weight to the front, ball goes through the center of the circle from back to front. Shifting weight back, the ball goes through the center of the circle from front to back. So the momentum is never lost. By the way, if you don't have a stick or a ball, you can always use your hand. It's not quite as good, but you can practice with the hand as well. All right, so let's see now how we would change from vertical circle to horizontal circle. Well, we're going to take that S-shaped maneuver that we used to change from overhand to underhand, and if I can have your imagination for a second, here's the middle of the S, right? I'm going to take the middle of the S, I'm going to hold it, then I'm going to take the bottom of the S, and I'm going to bend it like this. So I'm holding the middle of the S, and I'm going to take the bottom of the S and bend it like this. So our transition is going to look like this. Transition. Now the S is bent, and so it goes this way. Once again, momentum is not lost. The movement is continuous. We don't use force against force to stop the ball and send it in a different direction. Okay, so let's do vertical overhand and switch to clockwise horizontal. So here we go through the center of the circle, and since I'm rocking, I'm going to go from front to back and clockwise horizontal circle. Let's do that again. Overhand vertical circle, changing to clockwise horizontal circle. Now, another reminder here that with the horizontal circle, this time we're in rocking position, knees stay straight, moving straight in the same plane as the toes. So we're not going to be moving the knees like this, okay? Ooh, ouch. So we do the turning in the waist, and the inner ball leads the outer ball. So let me show you from this position, facing the camera, change from vertical overhand to clockwise underhand, clockwise horizontal, like this. Once again, vertical overhand and shifting from front to back, clockwise horizontal. Now, how do we change from clockwise horizontal to counterclockwise horizontal? Well, I could have your imagination again. We're just going to take the vertical S and we're going to do that to it. Okay, so the S will now be horizontal S. So I'm doing clockwise. I'll go through the center of the circle and switch to counterclockwise. And remember that when you are rocking, you go in the same direction that your weight shift is going. So in this case, I'll change while I'm shifting my weight forward. And now I'll change while shifting my weight back. And now, if I want to change my stance, so I've been working on my left side. I don't know, maybe you've been working on your left side or your right side, but we haven't changed sides. So if I want to change sides, and I'm going to step forward, I'm going to go through the center of the circle as I step forward. Now, since I'm going through the center of the circle while I'm stepping, I can change directions too. So, but let's keep it simple. We'll continue with clockwise, or whatever direction you're doing. Step forward and continue clockwise. So to change from one side to the other in rocking, you just step forward or backward in harmony with the movement of the ball. Seen from the side, frontward looks like that, and backward looks like this. You want to try that? So, rocking and step forward, change directions and step forward, going backwards, step backward, and step backwards. So if you've had Tai Chi walking before, some experience with it, that should be fairly easy. It's just moving the ball in coordination with your stepping. But if you haven't had Tai Chi walking, let me just point out here, with the horizontal, as I'm stepping forward, the inner ball turning, outer ball turning, waist turning, and my front foot turns out 45 degrees. Now, I send the ball forward. I step to center and step out like that. So once again, the forward step is inner ball and waist, and outer ball follows. We turn the waist, the inner ball turns, and the front foot turns out 45 degrees. We step to center, the ball goes straight ahead, and the rear foot becomes the front foot. It comes down, step to center, step out, and the toes point straight ahead on the new front foot, okay? All right, now let's go back to even stance and do a little bit of rotating. Key thing in rotating is to let the inner ball lead. very relaxed. You might imagine that there's a little push on the bottom of your foot. A little push that starts the inner ball rotating and is transmitted up the spine and out the arms to the outer ball. If I do it wrong, and to show you the idea of the push here, I lift my heel. Now you don't want to lift your heel, but so you lift the heel and it starts the rotation. So instead of lifting my heel, I just imagine that there's a little elf down there pushing up on the heel, okay? And so the whole body then is connected. Very good for restoring mobility to your wrist, particularly if you're using a lightweight ball. If you wanted to strengthen your, particularly the shoulders and arms, you would use a heavier ball and you would get a toning effect, a muscle and tendon toning effect. But if you have pain in the wrists or elbows or shoulders, you want to use a ball with no weight so that the joints are not tensed. Okay, are there questions?
What would a typical routine with the ball be, like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or?
So Bob's asking, what would a typical Tai Chi ball routine look like? Well, the length of it in terms of time would depend on your endurance. So yeah, you could do probably up to half an hour or more. Of course, you have to build up to that, otherwise you're going to feel your soreness in your back because your back's not used to moving the way it does, the way it's supposed to with Tai Chi ball. The training routine should be you work on each pattern until you have it in muscle memory, until you do it correctly without having to think about it. So you work on vertical overhand circling, okay? Get the inner ball moving, get the spine waving, yeah. Then you work on the horizontal, yes. And when you have all the different patterns, we'll say, just in stationary stance, have all the different patterns in muscle memory, then you can vary them. But first you have to create the groove for each pattern. Otherwise it's just going to be sloppy and movements incorrect. So yeah. And you can turn your vertical circling to the side too. So it can be freestyle, but first you have to create the correct form for each movement. Yeah. So I don't know what my heart rate is right now, but you could, if you can tolerate a ball with some weight on it, you could probably make it aerobic. So you could do 30 minutes or 35 minutes of aerobic exercise with a ball, and that would be your cardio workout. Other questions?